Hello everybody and welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. A man collecting firewood sees a Bigfoot-like creature during the countrywide COVID lockdown. This happened on the 28th of March, just last weekend, at 7:15 p.m. Now each year, around this time, I wait for the latest report to come in. Over the years, I have noticed a quiet time from mid-October, November, until around about April or May. And I honestly thought this year, with the lockdown in place, it would be many months before I heard a new account. I've always wondered why it goes so quiet at this time of the year. Is it because there are less people out and it's easy for the cryptid creatures to move around unseen? Or is it because it goes quiet during that period of the year because there's very few foodstuffs around? I really don't know. But with far less people outside at the moment enjoying the weather in our beautiful land, I was fooled into thinking this year would be very different. But in fact, the opposite happened. The gentleman who made the report stated, "As we are all in a countrywide lockdown at the moment, I thought it was even stranger. Nobody should be out here, let alone here in the quarry." This is his report in his own words. "I would like to report a strange figure I saw close to my home tonight. The sighting occurred this evening at around 7:15 p.m. It was dusk, Saturday the 28th of March 2020. I was outside with a 2-year-old son collecting some branches for our wood burner. We live near Golspie in Scotland, about 50 miles north of Inverness. It's a quite remote place and we don't see too many people around at the best of times. We live in a house built in the 1850s, which is situated near a disused quarry. That evening, I needed wood for the fire. So I went up to the nearby quarry where there's usually a good supply. We were just outside the quarry and I heard a metal kind of sound coming from up above me at the top of the quarry. I know there's a metal gate there, so I figured it was the local farmer coming through the gate. But then it struck me that I hadn't heard the noise of the tractor. And I've never seen him up there without his tractor, as it's a steep-sided slope and it's pretty rough terrain. As we were all in a countrywide lockdown at the moment, I thought it was even stranger that somebody would be out walking about. Nobody should be out here, let alone here in the quarry. It was so strange, I decided to go and have a look to see who it could be. Now, I've no idea what possessed me to look. I wouldn't normally have bothered. Other than not hearing the tractor and the metal sound I heard was quite loud, I suspect at any other time, i.e. no lockdown, I wouldn't be concerned and I would have just ignored it. I walked back up to my driveway, about 75 metres with my son, and I walked up a slope to get to a good view of the gate with him in my arms, as the slope is quite steep to the boundary fence. I looked left and there was no tractor, no farmer or anyone in sight towards the gate. I then looked right and about 250 metres away to the right of me was a figure, and I can only describe it as a black figure. There were no colours to it and the figure was quite large. It was much bigger than a man. I could tell it was bigger than a man because it was standing next to an electric pole and I could see how large it appeared even at this distance. I immediately realised that whatever it was, it had noticed me too. It stopped walking away from me and it appeared to turn round and look at me and not move. It looked at me for about 15 seconds and then it continued to walk away from me behind another disused quarry and it went out of sight. There are 3 old quarries in a row here, and what struck me was how it managed to walk that far in the 2 to 3 minutes it took me to walk up there to see what the noise was. I also got an unnerving feeling that it knew I was watching it as it stopped moving, and it seemed to me like it's turned round in my direction. I wouldn't normally write anything like this, as I cannot say I actually believe in it, but what I can say for sure was that it was not a person, and if it was an extremely well-built and tall person who managed to clear 200 to 300 metres of high slope land in about 2 to 3 minutes. To put where I live into perspective, behind me there is nothing but abandoned Highland crofts and mountains for about 20 miles inland towards Lairg. My house is situated 60 metres up a slope, and I've lived here for a while now, and in all that time I've never known anyone to walk behind my house. The only other person I see up here, as I said, is the farmer, and he'll stop to speak to me, but I've never seen him at dusk or this late. Given that the whole country is in lockdown, the usual busy A9 road is very quiet, and there are no houses around me. It was getting quite dark as the clocks didn't change until tonight, so it's about 7:15 p.m. So someone out walking there alone would be unusual at the best of times, let alone just now. Quarries seem to come up quite often. I mean, Carmily in Scotland jumps to mind straight away. And there are a number of reports at Carmily, and it's a very similar area actually to Golspie. So was this the cryptid creature? Was it lulled into a false sense of security due to the lack of people around at the moment? Or has it walked that way 1,000 times, only to be caught out this time due to a noisy gate? This seems like another report that is accidental in nature. But I'm starting to believe not all of these reports are accidental in origin. Could they be showing themselves to people for a reason? The world's at turmoil at the moment, and there are big changes coming to society as a whole. And these changes will no doubt shape the future for us and the generations to come, as well as the cryptid creatures. Stay safe. Good night.